Good afternoon, everybody. Mark here. Thought I'd give you a little bit of an update now. On the 6th of July, my 50th birthday. Yes, I made it to half a fucking century old. On my 50th birthday, Grace Tong, the sweet, lovely lady that she is, sent me the final decision from the Broadcasting Standards Authority into regards to my complaint against fairness, accuracy, misrepresentation, and all of those other, defaming, wonderful things that TVNZ and Fairgo did to myself and others, allegedly. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through, but first off, just screen share this so you can see it, guys, and I will show you. This is the email I got from Gracie. All right. And as it says here, Tēnā koe, I have been asked to advise you that the Broadcasting Standards Authority has not upheld your complaint. What a freaking shock. Like I actually had any faith in the system that would give them the impression that I was expecting something to be upheld. No, I expected you guys to, just like everything else in this so-called society of New Zealand, that you'd back the state and owned enterprises. It's that simple. I've had a couple of rough health days, so I'm just coming back up to scratch. So bear with me if I feel a little, it will seem a little disjointed. A copy of the decision number 2022002. That must mean they only had 2 complaints in the whole of 2022 so far, or was I just the second complaint of many? Is attached. The decision will be made public on the 7th of July. We request. Oh, so you're not ordering or demanding, you're just making a request, which I can deny. We request that you do not publicise the decision before that date. So what did they expect me to do? Kick back on my fucking 50th birthday and spend hours and hours doing editing and recording on my birthday to get it out? I mean, the thought crossed my mind to be spiteful and publish it a day before their request, and they're going to make it public anyway, but I prefer they put this one up first. As they said they're going to do it public. It's now what, 9th or 10th of July. As I said, I've had a couple of bad health days, so I'm just coming back up. But never mind. Your attention is drawn to Section 18 of the Broadcasting Act 1989, which provides the complaint or a broadcaster may appeal the decision of the authority to High Court, which is what I said to Grace all the frick along. That's what I'm doing. Why? Because the authority only has limited shit that they can deal with, fairness and accuracy, but they can't deal with the misrepresentation that was clearly obvious in the Fairgo article, the misrepresentation of Gil Higgins, after they say, and the emails kept on coming, but good old TVNZ and Fairgo didn't say from who. Then they read out the email, which is critical of Gil or Gilligan, Gil Higgins, and then you get a reaction from what they've called in the appeal as X, which is Sabon Kelly. Oh, I still get chills when I look at that directly. So what they've done is they've gone through the whole decision and they've not upheld the fairness and accuracy, but then they've gone on to agree with me and say that clearly the email was from Steve Cook to Gil Higgins, even though the show, when Sabon Kelly goes, oh, and has a little appalling reaction as if Universal Imports had written that. Now, they don't control her reaction. Perhaps they didn't say to Sabon Kelly beforehand, we got this email from that reporter, the same freelance reporter, which we didn't name to avoid defaming anybody, and yet are quite happy to defame the shit out of him in the response to the complaints, which I've put all up there. Because if these entities are going to start talking shit about us, you know, through complaints processes, you all have a right to see that. And I hope that there's a few other cases coming through. Now, of course, I'm going to be appealing their decision. As I said to Grace at the start, it's exactly what I'm, you know, I'm expecting the BSA to be completely fucking useless as they were, although they did give me a lovely little birthday present, which happened to be their decision. Because from what I can make out of the second half of it, they're all fucking agreeing with me. They're not denying the facts. It's just the BSA doesn't have authority or jurisdiction to deal with those other issues. They can only deal with the fairness and accuracy, which they didn't uphold, showing exactly how biased they are, even though they're fucking, oh, what's the word they use? Hang on, let me find it. Even though they say acting lawfully. We identify, disclose, let's see, where did I read it? It was just, it caught me interesting. We act in an impartial manner, irrespective of our own interests. Give me a fucking break. That's all they're interested in, is their own interest. I'd rather harass someone who's complaining about doing a lawful activity, such as putting their phone call up on bloody YouTube. They'd rather harass me about that shit, and harassment's 2 or more times. Glenn spoke to me twice about it. That's 2 separate occasions, with wrong information and misleading statements. So yeah, professional conduct. I see, what I did is I got the board charter, as well as, you know, let's have a look at the 4 board members. We've got Arrow Habek, John Gillespie, Tupe Solomon Tanoia. I'm sorry, I don't ever proclaim to be able to pronounce Samoan or whatever Polynesian islands that is. And Susie Staley, big happy chick. All right, so she's never actually owned anything of herself. Chairperson Susie Staley is a partner at Staley Cardoza Lawyers in Dunedin. So she's a lawyer. Is an experienced director across a broad range of entities. She is the chair of Save the Children New Zealand. Well, what does that tell you? Retirement Village operator Chatsford Management Limited and Police Health Plan Limited. Susie has previously been a chair of the Maritime New Zealand, ID Dunedin Fashion Incorporated, and has been a board member of PGG Wrightson Tower Limited, which is an insurance company, and Dunedin International Airport. So she just knows how to sit on fucking boards. I don't think she's, by the sounds of it, done anything fucking productive whatsoever. She was appointed as a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit in 2014 for services to governance and business. Susie joined the BSA in October 2018, but she only became chairperson in 2021 when the previous judge, what's her name, buggered off. So I'll take you through all of this in another video, but I'm going to show you the decision, okay? This is the decision they made. It was dated 6th of July. Again, happy fucking birthday, me. And decision of the Broadcasting Standards Authority, which doesn't really hold much clout, really. Summary. The authority has not upheld a complaint about an item on FairGo, which covered a customer's experience in purchasing a second-hand vehicle from Universal Imports. The customer did not obtain a pre-purchase report. No, she got a post-purchase one, a couple of them. And when the vehicle broke down, she attempted to reject the purchase under the Consumer Guarantees Act. The Motor Vehicle Dealers Disputes Tribunal ruling found in her favour. After the ruling, she copped abuse, personal insults, and name-calling. No, she didn't. At no time were any of the posts by Andrew Peck whatsoever did he mention the name Sabon Kelly. The only time Sabon Kelly's name in reference to those posts came about was when FairGo identified her as who those posts were about. Andrew never did, and they were only up for a few days, but go and look at my channel. The full interview with Andrew Peck, which FairGo couldn't do, is on my channel, showing you exactly what happened from his perspective. abuse. The complainant alleges the program was unfair to Universal Imports and its owner. Damn right it does. What does kickboxing, and he hasn't even bloody competed in the last 8 to 9 years, what the hell does kickboxing have to do with the sale of a car? All Fairgo wanted to do was paint him as a thug, which is absolutely disgusting. You could walk up to Andrew Peck on the roadside and tell him his mother's a fucking whore, and he probably wouldn't even fucking react to you. He's so peace of mind and calm-minded. People that do martial arts, you know, they learn to control their emotions as well as their physicalities. So, unreal. But, you know, he was disgusted by that, the way they painted him. The complainant alleges the program was unfair. It was inaccurate. Absolutely, it was inaccurate. There was no accuracy whatsoever when she's blurting out a fucking email from a freelance reporter and then has her respond as if to say, hey, look, that's from Universal Imports. That completely and utterly misleads the general public. Inaccurate on how it presented the situation. Yes, it is. The authority found the business and its owner were given a fair and reasonable opportunity to comment for the program, and the program was materially accurate. No, it wasn't. The complainant's concerns about the use of aspects of his YouTube videos are not capable of being addressed under the standards, all right? Because my complaints about my stuff and Steve Cook's stuff, you know, both of our voices were featured in that. Some of my video clips on my YouTube channel were featured in that. They may only have been slight features, but irrespective, under the Copyright Act and the broadcasting standards, even a photo on a newspaper tells you where the source is from. They gave no credit whatsoever to myself or to Steve Cook, perhaps because they didn't want to defame us on public by putting that on there. I don't know the logic behind it, but under the law, we are supposed to be getting acknowledgement if they use our stuff, just like anywhere else. The complainant's concerns about the use of the aspects of videos capable of being addressed under the standards. So the Broadcasting Standards Authority is saying, we don't have jurisdiction to deal with those aspects. All right. The broadcast on the 8th of November, an item on Fair Go, covered a customer. Now look at this, X's. Let's not beat around the bush. Whenever you see that stupid X there, as in X marks the spot, not that anyone would want to go anywhere near that spot, but X marks the spot, meaning Sabon Kelly, all right? She wasn't even part of the complainant. It was between me and TVNZ. So what the fuck is, because they seem to have no problem disclosing everybody else's name, but no, they've put X. She has no right to her name suppression in this. And if the BSA contacted her for name suppression, asking her if she had that option, that's them stepping outside their bounds as far as I'm concerned. But again, this goes to showing how impartial, bias these pricks are. On the 8th of November, an item on Fair Go covered a customer X Sabon Kelly's experience with Universal Imports, a car dealer. The item outlines the following: that Sabon Kelly purchased a second-hand Audi from Universal Imports, partly on finance, $7,000, and partly from trading her old POS Toyota, $2,000. She did not obtain a pre-purchase report. 2 weeks later, the car broke down. Universal Imports stepped up and towed the car back for repairs. When X picked it up 10 minutes from the car yard, it broke down again. On the advice of a lawyer she knew, she attempted to reject the vehicle under the Consumer Guarantees Act. Universal Imports responded that they would come and pick it up and have another attempt at repairing it. When X got the car back, Sabon got the car back. She took it to an independent mechanic for a post-purchase inspection. Sabon said the list of what's wrong with the car was ridiculous. I said to them again, I am enacting my right under the Consumer Guarantees Act to reject this vehicle. What they didn't say is that the court ordered her to do a transmission or a fluids and an oil consumption test because he wasn't happy with the information that she was providing. This is Brent Carter. He wasn't happy with that. He sent her away to go and get this test done for consumption because she was saying it was using a lot of oil. So he says, okay, go and get that done. And instead of coming back with those things, as Andrew says in an interview, she came back with a laundry list of some idiots that didn't put it into jack mode before, or hoist mode, before they put the bloody Audi on the hoist, damaging the compressor and the air suspension. It's crazy. So it was her taking it for the second post-purchase inspection, which was only supposed to be fluids and transmission oil usage and testing, according to the Motor Vehicle Dealers Tribunal's thing anyway, and the actual recording of the hearing I've heard, which has not been released. That's what happened. And she didn't do any of it. She harangued Brett Carter enough to the fact where he just found in her favour. It's really that simple. He had proven that the car's faults were fixed. She actually damaged it, taking it for those inspections. He didn't damage it. It wasn't even in his possession. So why should he take it back? Anyway. Her request was ignored. She went to the Motor Vehicle Dealers Disputes Tribunal. Both parties filed mechanical reports, but they were so different that the Motor Vehicle Dealers Dispute Tribunal did its own assessment, who found there was nothing wrong with the car, but the adjudicator went and found against their own assessor anyway. But even those findings were mixed. No, they weren't mixed. They were straightforward and clear. What was mixed was the apparent bias reaction and how it happened after seeing those results. That's what was mixed. Brett Carter should have gone for Universal Imports in their favour, but he didn't. So how would you fight? So how would the fight play out? So, see, what they've done is they've literally, from what I can see here, typed the dialogue of the episode. But even those findings were mixed. So how would the fight play out? What fight? It's a dispute. No one's going to fisticuffs, even though that's what Fair Go wanted it to look like. Universal Imports won on some points, pretty much all of the important ones, and Sabon took out some others. Really? We're not going by a points game here. But in the end, the tribunal ruled in Sabon's favour. Universal Imports had to take the car and pay her $3,300. While Universal Imports took back the Audi and settled with the finance company, it ignored the tribunal's ruling to pay back. No, it didn't. And that's Sabon, of course, see that X. He didn't. What he did do was, because of the constraints of COVID, he couldn't get and do what he wanted to do to get the money over. When he did, and when he was back in the country, because he was, for a part of the year lives in Japan, when he was back in the country, he did what he was able to do and settle the problem. That was 3 days out of the time, and the MVDT have gone and sent him a strike. 2 strikes in 10 years, you lose your license. So because of Sabon hounding them after that, he went and got a letter out of the blue after my interview with him, saying that he had received 1 of 2 possible strikes against Universal Imports because he didn't do what he should have done and paid within those 3 days. He can go and, appeal all of this shit, but, and when's enough's enough? He's not going to go and spend $150,000 in lawyers' fees to actually get justice when he's never going to get that repaid back to him, is he? So, but from my point of view, I'm a dog with a bone. I'll never let go. And these idiots seem to think I am. So, while Universal Imports had a ruling to pay back, after the MPT ruling, Sabon copped, they forgot the brackets. Sabon copped abuse, personal insults, and name calling. No, not from Universal Imports. Not from anyone. Didn't get name calling from the freelance journalist, didn't get any name calling from John Murphy. They're entitled to their opinion, but no one was doing any name calling other than Sabon Kelly on more than one social media group. X stumped up $600 in legal fees for a letter from a friend, apparently. Well, fuck, some friend, if they're charging you $600 for a letter, that's like 2 hours and some fucking paperwork fees. Most lawyers, $250 an hour. If you need anything sort of decent or upwards, some of them will be thousands of dollars an hour. But $600 in legal fees from a friend, as she says on that. Payment for court action, and also came to us at Fair Go, who attempted to contact Andrew Peck, the owner of Universal Imports. Universal Imports was paid Universal Imports paid Sabon after almost 6 weeks of waiting. Really? Well, whatever the time period was, he was only 3 days out, according to the tribunal's letter. So perhaps he was given 6 weeks and he paid in 6 weeks and 3 days. Regardless, had nothing whatsoever to do with fucking Fair Go, so they can take that little feather out of their cap and shove it right up where the sun don't shine, nor will it help them fly. There was a response to Fair Go's email too, all right? Now this is what they say, there was a response to Fair Go's email too. This is the email they sent Universal Imports. So therefore that's implying straight away that the response was from Universal Imports. No explanation for the delays in payments. Instead, shame you're still feeling your way at Fair Go, dreaming, hoping that one day you'll be offered the presenter's chair. Now that was part of the email from Steve Cook, and as they've just said, there was a response to Fair Go's emails too. Remember, they contacted Universal Imports for comment. They never state that they contacted John Murphy, Steve Cook, or myself, even though they're still saying that after a typo saying they contacted me. They say that to the tribunal that they contacted John Murphy. Never fucking happened. They never tried contacting him either before the airing of the show. So pack of lies still again. So yeah, there was a response. No explanation for the delays in payment. Okay, so who are we expecting to get an explanation from in regards to a delay in payment? Universal Imports, that's right. But instead, they read out, a shame you're still feeling your way through Fair Go, dreaming, hoping that one day you'll be offered the presenter's chair, which is the email from Steve Cook. There is your misrepresentation right there. There is your appeal won in High Court, because in their own dialogue, they're saying this. If that's ever to be possible, then you'll need to engage your brain before asking silly questions which expose what a limited grasp you have of the issues. Beautifully worded, thank you, Steve Cook. The item concluded with a discussion of the effectiveness of the MVDT and the General Disputes Tribunal. Okay, so the item they're talking about, really, you just think you just jump up here and take over my back, would you? Sorry, my cat's jumping in the road. So anyway, they're saying the abuse towards X alleged in the included item. A photographer trying to snap her in the street. And yet that's exactly what Fair Go did, snapping photos of her and video of her and her son walking along outside Universal Imports or across the road. That's what they did. So they're doing the first allegation themselves. There was no, and they showed on the article on the show that it was a camera hidden behind some foliage. I went round there because I know where Sabon lives. That's not a threat, people. That's just a statement of fact. There are no bushes anyone can be hiding behind to snapshot those photos. Phone calls. I've had to deal with people ringing up trying to intimidate me. Sabon was shown on the phone. Caller, I'm a freelance journalist. The entire phone call I released before the airing of the show, showing just the snippet of narrative they wanted out of that recording to make it look intimidating. You know, the only person intimidating anyone was Sabon trying to intimidate Universal Imports. And then by going to Fair Go, if that's what happened, I more to the point suspect that someone at the Motor Vehicle Dealers Tribunal or an investigator got the information from MBDT and Fair Go went and contacted Sabon, because Sabon says on the phone call, Fair Go have been in contact with me. Did she ring them? That sounds the other way around to me. Where's this information going? Well, answer the question and I might be able to tell you. C, a Facebook post. It was actually really vile what he was saying about me and my son's father. Who identified that apart from yourself, Siobhan Foster? I mean, sorry, not Siobhan Foster, Siobhan Kelly. Siobhan Kelly identified herself as being the subject of those comments, because nowhere in the comment does it identify Siobhan fucking Kelly. He was very certain to make sure of that, as to not personally identify. But Fair Go went ahead and did that anyway for them, didn't they? Thank you again, Fair Go, because you just identified who they were. It's a solo mother, of course, which means some drunk soul must have been severely wasted to smear a kid with that. To what? To smear, it wasn't to smear a kid with that. BSA, get your decision words right. It was wasted to sire a kid with that, with it. All right? Not smear. How the hell do you smear a kid with it? Or perhaps artificial insemination was performed due to the visual horror that it is. Look, I'm just one guy here, but I don't 100% disagree with that statement. D, what looks like a news story about her sent to her phone, which was full of quotes from Universal Imports. Yes, because a freelance journalist who contacted her on the phone to get her side under fairness and accuracy also spoke and got that part there written up with Andrew. So it boggles the mind, but that article was sent to her from one of her friends. It wasn't sent to her or showed up to her from a mysterious fucking number. One of her mates sent it to her. Anyway, it goes on about dysentery. They just literally, to me, what it sounds like here, responses to a 1-star Google review. Again, this to me just seems like an absolute word for word, apart from their typo errors, narrative of what was spoken from the start to finish in the Cars article. Now we're up to the complainant and background. The complainant, Mark King, made a YouTube video about X's dispute with Universal Imports, published on the 15th of October. Oh, I made about 8 fucking YouTube videos, so don't mislead again. In the video, Keane reads out an article about Siobhan Kelly, referred to at the above D, and includes a recorded phone conversation between a freelance journalist and Siobhan Kelly. Aspects of this video were included in the Fair Go item. Yeah, exactly. Just aspects, just the narrative that Fair Go wanted to fucking cherry pick to suit their narrative, including some of the audio referred to in subparagraphs 2BE above. Keane also posted another video on 1 November, which included an email from Fair Go reporter Gil Higgins to Universal Imports and the freelance journalist's response to that email. Why on earth would they be expecting a reason for the late payment from the freelance journalist reading through their own report here? Think. Keane provided detailed submissions alleging the broadcast breached the accuracy and fairness standards. Key aspects of the complaints are as follows. Accuracy, the item claimed an interview with a reporter was harassment. It claimed that there was a photographer trying to take her picture in the street, while the YouTube video contained an image of Siobhan Kelly. This was a still frame from a video taken when Andrew Peck returned to recover their loan vehicle. Keane also commented, bear in mind I am fully aware of Siobhan Kelly's residential address, which they said and claimed because I mentioned a Norfolk pine, it's a veiled threat. And have perused that location. Yeah, I have. Only to discover there are no bushes where any so-called photographer could have been hiding, taking snapshots of her, as alleged in the Fair Go story. I say bushes because they show bushes in their story. It stated that Universal Imports had released an article which they had no control over. The item presented an email from the freelance journalist to Fair Go as coming from Peck, and claimed Peck had sent texts and articles to Siobhan Kelly. Well, that's going to be interesting to see how they can prove that, eh? Fair Go stated in the show, the emails kept on coming. and then proceeded to read out an email from the freelance journalist to Siobhan Kelly during the episode. This was in no way from Andrew Peck or Universal Imports, yet Siobhan Kelly reacted to Gil Higgins reading it as if Andrew Peck, Universal Imports, had written it. This was absolutely misleading the viewer. Fucking dead right. And then they've got a little, see this little one here for their footnotes. The freelance journalist appears to be associated with the complainant who used his recording in a YouTube video and credited him with writing the news article which was featured in the same video. I don't know what you mean by associated. I have his email address. I believe I've met him once in High Court in another matter when he was covering it. But yeah, I doubt I even have Steve Cook's phone number. So I would not, no, I'm not associated with Steve Cook at all. I just know him through other people that I know, not associated with any of them. Fairness, it used segments of Keen's YouTube video without attribution. Exactly fucking right. It was unfair to Peck and Universal Imports and defamed their reputation and character. Yep. It alleged that Siobhan Kelly was subjected to unprofessional behaviour in relation to a derogatory Facebook post being photographed outside her property and being sent in a parent news article based on an interview with Andrew Peck. And furthermore, alleging Siobhan Kelly received calls and texts that left her feeling vulnerable and anxious. They got pills for that. Andrew Peck and Universal Imports have received nasty backlash from the hit piece created by TVNZ for several weeks after the show aired due to TVNZ's misrepresentation of the facts. Exactly right. Andrew verifies that in the interview with me. Keen has also posted a number of videos on his YouTube channel in relation to X's or Siobhan Kelly's dispute with Universal Imports, his complaint about fair go to TVNZ, and the subsequent referral to us being the BSA. Keen provided links to some of these videos in his submissions. No, I supplied you a link to fucking everything, you lying pricks. I've supplied you with links to absolutely everything. Keen provided links in his submissions, including one where he analysed the fair go segment and picked apart the segment which he considered completely absent fact. Yeah, I do, because that's what the fair go article was. The broadcaster's response to Television New Zealand, I might actually have to, I'm going to have to stop this in 5 minutes and just put in a part 2 probably, because it's taking a little bit longer than normal to read this out because I go on. Television New Zealand Limited commented the Broadcasting Act does not apply to copyright issues nor claims of defamation. Regarding the inclusion of clips from Keen's YouTube videos, it commented, a made-up news story was also sent to Siobhan Kelly's phone. It was full of quotes from Andrew Peck. Fairgo used screenshots of the news story on YouTube and the audio from that recording. This was 2 instances, both occasions lasting approximately 5 seconds. Under copyright law, the fair dealing principle means Fairgo is able to use bits of a YouTube recording for news reporting purposes, which is what occurred. I'm not denying that they can do that. What I'm saying is you forgot to fucking accredit me with the source of that information, which is a breach of the Copyright Act. Unfortunately, Broadcasting Standards Authority has no jurisdiction over, hence why I'm going to go to High Court and appeal. Is this making sense to all of you people at the Broadcasting Standards Authority? Perhaps to you reporters at Fairgo, or that fucknut Brett McNulty, who is complete tosspot as far as what I can make out from the emails. You see, because I also did my investigation on Fairgo, and wouldn't you know it, because of shareholders and financial reasons, they couldn't disclose any information to me. That's about your TVNZ public broadcasting. Apparently it's, yeah, they can't divulge under Official Information Act because of their shareholders and financial concerns. What does that tell you? TVNZ did not uphold the complaint for the following reasons. Accuracy. Regarding the news article, no claim was made that Universal Imports released the news article. Really, it was implied. It was described as a news story which had quotes from Universal Imports owner, which is correct. Regarding the email from the freelance journalist being represented as from Peck, part of the story was the continued harassment of Siobhan Kelly by people who did not always identify themselves. Steve Cook identified himself on the phone call. At the start of the phone call, it shows you that. I show you that. Siobhan Kelly received emails, articles, and texts. Oh, well, okay, so who was the source of the emails then? It's not hard to show who the sender was. Show us the email, because I bet it's not Universal Imports or John fucking Murphy or or Steve Cook. Fairgo did not say who were there, who they were there, did not say who they were sent by, but we did reveal the content of them that we thought our viewers should see and judge for themselves. Content of them, content of the emails, but you're not exactly, by saying no responses about the delay in payment, implying Universal Imports, and then do this. So our viewers should see for themselves. That's what you call getting social justice, letting the court of public opinion see after they show you a tidbit of narrative from facts. That is the difference between what I've put up on my channel and their fucking 10-minute hit piece. I put up everything, hours worth. Fairness, the program dealt fairly with PEC and Universal Imports. The quotes which are given in the program are directly attributable to him, either through being on his personal Facebook page or credited to him on the news story. In the program, it is made clear that Universal Imports did attempt to repair the Audi twice, yeah, over and above. That the woman, no, come on, what is a woman? We'll say that the adult human female had not, well, and that's just me, you know, that's subjective, that, because I don't know, I've not done the Mick Dundee check, had not done the usual pre-purchase checks on the vehicle, and that she had criticised the dealership in a one-star review, portions of which were included in the program. The item discussed the MBDT dealers acknowledging Universal Imports won on some points. The woman took out some others, but in the end, the tribunal ruled in the woman's favour. Again, perhaps she identifies as a penguin. It reported Universal Imports had to take back the car and pay her $3,300 and did not pay until Fairgo became involved. That's not accurate. Fairgo provided Universal Imports and Andrew Peck a fair and reasonable opportunity to comment for the program. You know, I'm going to ask Andrew to supply me the date that payment was made, to supply me the letters that he got from MBDT saying that he's gotten that strike, and then, as Fairgo seems to have put in section 8 of the appendix at the bottom of this, they are pointing out a timeline and evidence from TVNZ about the contacting of Universal Imports. So with all of that information, we should be able to see when Fairgo got involved and when exactly he paid. Well, and that should settle that little debate, shouldn't it? All right, I'm just going to switch over to another one and I'll be right with you. See you later, guys. Thanks for putting up with me and watching this for so long. Top notch. See you.